Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I want to be talking about the 7 crucial questions you need to answer before starting semen retention. So let's get right into it. So to start things off, why do these questions matter? Well, they matter because if you don't set yourself up for success, you're ultimately setting yourself up for failure. And these questions will help make failure on semen retention as improbable as possible. You'll have a better idea of what to expect along your journey. So this goes to the benefits that you can expect to receive, the lifestyle changes that you'll experience, and the lifestyle changes that you'll need to make, and many other things that we'll get into throughout this presentation. They'll help you to avoid disappointment and any unrealistic expectations. So this could be like if you expect to start flying, or just something just absolutely crazy. There are a lot of different videos out here that promote certain things to people that aren't necessarily the best idea to give to somebody who's just starting off, or even to somebody who is just getting used to the practice. So it's going to help you to avoid those things. And it's also important to remember to write the answers to these questions down. There are going to be a lot of questions throughout this presentation, and you need to write them down in order to remember them, because they're going to be very important to you along your semen retention journey. So make sure to get a piece of paper, make sure to get a pen, a pencil. If you need to get a computer, maybe if you're using your phone, just use something to help you write down these questions, the answers to these questions, because they're very important. Okay, before I go any further, I just want to make sure you guys understand that when I say failure, I'm not talking about a relapse, right? Failure does not equal relapse. You're still going to relapse along your semen retention journey no matter what. This is honestly just impossible to avoid. You're going to have mistakes, you're going to have weak moments. It's okay, right? It's important to remember that, again, it's a part of your journey, and it's going to help you improve, right? For me personally, I've learned the most from my journey from the relapses that I've had, and the successes that I've had have come as a result of what I've learned from those relapses. So it's important to remember that even the wise man falls 7 times, but he gets back up. This is said in Proverbs 24 verse 16. So even the Bible says, look, man, everybody falls, right? What separates you from most others is that when you fall, you choose to get back up. You choose to try again. So when you do fall, just get back up and try again. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's not the end of the world. You're not going to die. I promise you, you'll be okay. All right. So number 1 is going to be, what are your personal reasons for practicing semen retention? So why are you doing semen retention? What experiences have shaped your decision to practice semen retention, and who are you doing semen retention for? So for me personally, I'm doing semen retention so I can control my sexual desires completely. As far as any experiences that I had an experience not too long ago with a woman that I was with, and long story short, she had a STD and did not tell me. So obviously, as you could assume, that kind of messed me up. But that ultimately added fuel to my fire to why I should stay on semen retention, and why I just need to focus on myself right now, because the last thing I want to be doing is be getting caught up, especially in a wrong situation with the wrong person. And for number 3, who are you doing semen retention for? I'm ultimately doing it for myself, but I'm also doing it for God, but I'm ultimately doing it for my family as well. I have nieces and nephews that look up to me. I have siblings that I want to be able to give to, parents I want to be able to give back to, and I ultimately do it for you guys, right? For people who may find this channel and who are interested in doing semen retention as well. I want to be a good example and the best example possible to everybody who is around me, and that includes you guys as well. Okay. So number 2, what benefits do you expect from practicing semen retention? So what physical benefits do you expect? What mental benefits do you expect? What emotional benefits do you expect? And what spiritual benefits do you expect? So for me personally, I expect to be able to perform better in the gym, perform better in sports. I like to play basketball, and I also like to work out. For mental benefits, I expect to have better mental clarity, less brain fog, and this just comes with not focusing on women as much, not focusing on sex as much. You're just going to just naturally just have more focus because you're not worried about that stuff. And number 3, for the emotional benefits, I would say that I expect to have more confidence. I expect to have less anxiety, and I expect to just be more self-control. And for number 4, I expect to have a personal relationship and a closer relationship ultimately with God as well. So number 3 is going to be, how will you handle urges and temptations? So where do you often find yourself when you want to relapse? What apps or websites do you find yourself using? How will you limit yourself access to these sources? And what activities will you use to properly? And it's important that you realize that I put emphasis on the properly replace your sexual urges, because a lot of the times why people tend to go back to the same habits that they try to get rid of is because they fail to properly replace it with something else, right? So for example, like I use exercise, and I use listening to music, and I use just going outside and going for a walk, right? Sometimes I listen to music, sometimes I don't listen to music. Now, those are the 3 activities that I use to help me to properly replace that sexual urge, because the truth of the matter is, if you don't properly replace it, it's always just going to find itself back into your life, no matter how hard you try to get rid of it. And as a bonus tip, I would say to relabel your urges to something more beneficial. So a good example of this is to, instead of, when you get that urge, instead of saying, oh, I have the urge to go masturbate, or I have the urge to go have sex, now say, okay, for me personally, it's, I have the urge to go exercise, I have the urge to listen to some music, or I have the urge to go outside and go for a walk. And that's going to help you to not only just be the master of your thoughts and understand that you're just observing it, right? When you get that thought, it's not your thought necessarily, but it's just a thought that you experience. And understanding that it's not you thinking it, understands that, it's going to help you to understand that you can change it as well. Okay? So question number 4 is going to be, what is your plan for tracking progress? So what apps or resources will you use? How often will you review your progress? Will you count the days or not? And how will you reward yourself for reaching certain milestones? And this is very important, I would say, for going to counting the days. I know this is a very big topic in the community of whether you should count the days or not. I personally do not count the days. I try to stay away from it as much as possible. And this is just because, in my personal experience, the streaks that I have had that I went the longest on, I did not count the days. I honestly don't even know if they're 100% accurate, but I know just based off of estimate, because I can kind of tell when the last time that I relapsed was during that time. So I know, okay, it was like a 30-day, or it was a 60-day, or it was like a 90-day streak. But I would say it's better to not count the days, because when you relapse, it's going to be very hard for you to get back up, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I was on a 30-day streak, like it's going to take me so long to get back. Like, to be honest, bro, it really doesn't matter. Streaks don't really matter. It's good, and it's a good way to monitor your progress, but it's not the be all end all. You can be on day 1 and get the same benefits and experience the same benefits that you would have on day 30, and so on and so forth. It just depends on your personal development and how you go along with your semen retention journey. So it's not that big of a deal to count the days or not, but again, I'll just leave that up to you. But that's just my personal experience with that. So it's also important to reward yourself for certain milestones as well, because let's say you just hit 50 days. You should reward yourself for that, especially if that was a goal that you had for a long time, because a lot of people, they get caught up in the, mistake of, pushing themselves to hit this milestone, and being disciplined and being self-controlled for so long, and then they get to the milestone and then they just don't do anything, right? And that's going to discourage you ultimately from getting there, because it's like, okay, what am I getting from this, right? The whole point of semen retention and the whole point of me making these videos is for you guys to understand what you're actually going to get from them. And the best way for you to implement that is for you to say, okay, well, I'm going to do this for myself when I hit this milestone. For example, right, if I hit 100 days, I'm going to get myself this. I'm going to buy myself a new pair of shoes, or it could be, something that you've always wanted, right? Maybe it could be, a book, or whatever it is, right? It's just personal for you, but it's important that you make sure that you're rewarding yourself so that you keep yourself on the right track. So number 5 is going to be, how will you integrate semen retention with your lifestyle? So what activities will you prioritize to help you stay on semen retention? What boundaries will you set for yourself to keep you from relapsing? how will you deal with flatlines and burnouts, and how will you balance semen retention with the uncertainties of life. And this is important to remember because flatlines and burnouts are not talked about a lot in the community. I don't really see a lot of videos and a lot of people touching on it. It's important to remember that you will have flatlines on semen retention. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, you're going to have days to where you don't really feel anything. You're going to have days where you feel like you're just on top of the world. You're going to have days where you feel low. All right? It's important to understand and be able to plan out how you're going to deal with these different feelings so that when they come along, you'll be better prepared for them. So number 6 is going to be what resources or communities will support you. So what social media outlets will you tune into? For example, you could use Reddit, Discord, and there are many other sites that you can use to help you out with this. Are you interested in starting your own community? And if so, how? What books will you read, and what other topics are you interested in learning more about? So for the books, I'll give you guys a couple of recommendations. The book that has helped me out the most, I would say, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He talks a lot about sexual transmutation in that book, and it's a very good read. I would definitely recommend that. Another book that I would recommend is going to be The Way of the Superior Man, and another one that I was just throwing there is going to be The Bliss of the Celibate. Those are 3 very good books if you are interested in learning more about the art of semen retention and how it can tie into your daily life. So I would say to check those 3 books out most definitely. And question number 7 is going to be, what are your long-term goals? So are there any specific milestones you want to achieve? What goals do you want to pursue while on semen retention? Where are you right now with those goals, and how do you plan to achieve those goals? Because it's important to remember that semen retention is pointless if you're not going to pursue any goals. That is very, 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 very important to remember. All right, it's pointless. It doesn't make sense to just get on semen retention just to just hold your seed in. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You want to get something. Again, you want to get something from doing it. You want to get something from putting yourself through this, because the truth of the matter is semen retention is hard. It's not easy. If somebody has told you that semen retention is easy and that this practice is easy, or that's how they've made it out to be, I hate to break it to you, but they lied. This is a very hard practice, and you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success and you're getting something from actually doing it. So for me personally, the specific milestone that I would like to achieve on retention is to hit 100 days. That's been the milestone that I've wanted to hit for a long time. I've never really been able to do it. I've gotten close a couple of times, but I've never hit triple digits. That would probably be the closest milestone that I would say for me personally. For you, it might be a little bit more. Some people may want to go 200 days, 300 days, and people may even want to go a year, right? It's all personal. Like I always say, semen retention is above all else a personal experience. So and don't limit yourself just because I say 100 days. It could be different for you. If you want to go 10 years, whatever it is, knock yourself out. But it's important that you write these things down. You write down your goals and you figure out where you are right now, so you know what you need to do in order to get there. Okay. And if you made it to this point in the video, I just want to go ahead and congratulate you. By answering these questions, you have now established your whys and hows for practicing semen retention. You've determined the benefits you expect to obtain through this practice. You've eliminated any gray areas that may have been confusing you. You've determined your weak areas and how you plan to avoid and improve them. And you have ultimately set yourself up for clear success on your semen retention journey. But that's going to be it for me. I just want to say that if you guys have enjoyed the content, to please like and subscribe. It goes a very long way to helping me get these videos out and helping me push this message to people who will receive it and benefit from it as well. If you have any other video ideas or any topics that you may want me to cover about semen retention, or it could be anything else, please make sure to comment it down below. I look forward to hearing back from you guys, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this presentation, and thank you so much for your time, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.